everyone, Sarah with you today for Technique Tuesday. The April theme is embossing powder, and I'm going to be using this beautiful raspberry tart embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. I also have some of Lawn Fawn's newest release, which is the Rainbow Ever After paper, and some of the dyes. I love Lawn Fawn's newest release. I think I got oodles of it. It was such a pretty, like, perfect spring fun collection. And we are going to use these light, pretty papers, and we're going to add a pop of something bright and bold to it. And that will be in the way of my absolute favorite color, pink. So the embossing powder I'm using, the Brutus Monroe, is Raspberry Tart embossing powder. It is available in the shop. Now, when you get it in the shop, it will come in a little baggie. I always dump it into a little wide mouth jar, which is why mine is in a wide mouth jar. I am going to start with this pretty background stripe paper. I cut it right in half at 6 inches, and I'm going to tear the edge. So I created this layout when a bunch of girlfriends and I were at a little local scrapbooking day. So my desk looks a little bit different. I'm going to start with my embossing ink from Brutus Monroe, and then I'm just going to ink up the torn edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this embossing powder right to that torn edge. I'm going to hit this with my heat tool until all of that powder is nice and smooth and melted. And then I am going to get started on some embellishments. We're going to make all of our own embellishments today for our layout. I'm going to show you some fun embossing powder techniques, how you can add extra detail to your metal dies. Just making sure all of that embossing powder is melted, and I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the Lily of the Valley dies. This is another part of the newest release from Lawn Fawn. And it's a beautiful standalone die set, and I grabbed some light purple and that pink cardstock that matches that bright pink embossing powder, and I'm going to go ahead and cut lots of these little Lily of the Valley clusters. And I know lilies of the valleys are generally white, but we're going to add a pop of color to ours and make them this light lavender and bright purple or bright pink. After a nice long die cutting session, I am going to go ahead and put my Lily of the Valleys together. So for my Lily of the Valleys, I wanted lots of dimension. To get that dimension, I am going to layer up the flower dies. So instead of die cutting the flowers for the little stems just once, I die cut each of them 3 times, and then I am stacking those up onto each other. This creates a lot of pretty dimension. So this makes these flowers look more 3D and just beautiful. You can see the finished one off to the left there. I'm using my crystal katana and then kind of just pushing these flowers into place to create these beautiful clusters. Once I had my purple flowers done, I'm going to work with some pink ones too, but first I decided I wanted to do a little bit of stamping on my background. And I am someone that forgets things, so I was like, let's just get the stamping done right now, because then I'm going to also do a little bit of splatter, and that can all dry while we put together the pink Lily of the Valleys. For this stamping, I am going to be using products from Catherine Polar. I have a cotton candy ink, one of the newer metallic inks, champagne, and then I also have another new ink color, frosted. I love Catherine Polar's new ink colors. All 3 of them are absolutely beautiful. You're going to see me work with them in greater detail tomorrow, because tomorrow is May 1st and tomorrow is a cherry on top's monthly hop, and I'm going to be working with those 3 inks as well. So today I'm using the Frosted, the Cotton Candy, and the Champagne Metallic. And the stamps that I'm using is also from Catherine Puller. It was part of her newest release. When as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. It has this beautiful kind of like script stamp. There is these lovely like faux mixed media type of a stamp. And you know, the little splatters, and then it has the sweetest sentiments. If you like to make cards, there are some beautiful, beautiful sentiments on it as well. One of the things I love about this stamp set is that even though it is small, it's what I refer to as an infinity stamp, which means you can stamp it up and down or beside each other, and it will make a continuous pattern. So it lines up, which is really, really nice. So I'm starting with that Frosted ink color, and I'm going down pretty much the middle of the page. I did kind of eyeball it with my with the heat embossed torn edge paper. And once I kind of had an idea of where that paper was going to hit, I just went ahead and stamped along the edge so that at the end, the stamping will look like it is coming out from behind that torn edge. Once I had this first section stamped with the Frosted ink, I'm going to come in now with the Cotton Candy, and what I'm doing is I'm shifting that stamp so that the writing, the script is kind of like in between the script from the first stamp. And then I'm going to stamp that using the Cotton Candy ink. And I'm going to go ahead and do this all the way down this band of stamping that I have. So it's going to create this really cool kind of layered effect, and I think it turned out so pretty. So you have that purple, and then you have the lighter pink kind of accenting the purple in between the initial script. It looks really, really cool. Definitely take a peek at the close-ups at the end of this video because I think it turned out so nice. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the splatter stamps from the same stamp set. This is the Champagne Metallic ink from Catherine Puller. So I have the first 3 colors she released. So I have the gold, the silver, and the champagne. I am in love with this metallic ink. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is so nice. So when you first put it on, when you first stamp it on, it looks a little meh. It looks a little dull, and you're kind of like, is it there? Is it going to work? But when it dries, you have this gorgeous, amazing metallic look to anything that you stamp. It is so, so awesome. I cannot wait. I know she just released another color, like a rose gold color, and I'm so excited to get that in my next order and play with that one too. I love it. I think it is beautiful, beautiful. These metallic ink colors are going to become a huge favorite. So just know if you go ahead and grab some, when you stamp it at first, you're going to be a little underwhelmed. It's going to look a little bit dull and not metallic, but then when it dries beautifully. So I'm adding what is basically a stamped splatters all the way down that band on my page. And I feel like the light kind of picked up the pretty metallic a little bit. I was worried about that because I wasn't home, so these aren't my usual filming lights, but I think it did a pretty good job of grabbing that pretty metallic shimmer. Now I'm going to grab the 6 by 12 inch piece of paper, this paper here, the one that we embossed, and I'm going to place it right there so that we have sort of like a half and half type of design to our layout, and a little bit of almost like a 3/4. So I'm going to line it up at the top and at the bottom, and then I'm just going to pull that torn edge back, and we can go ahead and get our layout together. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with the hot pink. It's not hot pink. It's my favorite shade of pink. There's our photos for today. We're gonna do just a Hello Spring page. So I have these pretty photos I took the day that the weather kind of broke. And here I'm just kind of auditioning, possibly adding a little bit, 2 of these branding strips to the left side. And I do end up adding those because I think it added just a little bit more a pop of color. One of the pattern papers in this collection is this ombre. There's 2 different kinds of ombre papers, and they're beautiful. I love them. So I'm going to use a little scrap of that one to map my photo with. And then I'm going to grab this kind of brighter raspberry pink color, and I'm going to mat the larger photo with that raspberry pink cardstock. This is my absolute favorite shade of pink. So it is, I've now acquired it in an ink, which is Catherine Pooler's Party Dress. I found the perfect shade of cardstock to match this pink. I have that gorgeous embossing powder from Brutus Monroe that matches my favorite shade of pink. And I love it. Love it. Another really good match to this color pink is Pinked Raspberry Distress Oxide ink. That is my favorite shade of pink. So that is how my photos are going to be. I left them to overlap because they are just photos of beautiful, beautiful spring flowers, the first things that kind of pop up at my house. My favorite kinds of papers are the ones where the manufacturer designs the branding strips so that you have no waste. There's no throwaway. And so I added 2 of those branding strips to the left side of my page for just a little bit more color and interest. And I'm going to get my photos in place. As I am doing my voiceover, I'm realizing that I must have lost a little bit of footage from when I did the pink Lily of the Valley flowers. So with those pink Lily of the Valley flowers, you'll see them here as I work with them, but I wanted to explain to you what I did because I did something pretty unique to them, and I'm not sure, I think my camera shut off and I didn't realize it. So what I did was, before I adhered the flowers to the stems on the pink Lily of the Valleys, there they are, I kind of pushed them randomly into the embossing powder or into the embossing ink, and then coated just the bottoms of them with the embossing powder. Super, super simple. I'm not sure why I don't have that video footage. I, again, think I must have lost it at some point, or my camera shut off, which makes me super sad. But in the close-ups, I will kind of slow down those part of the close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. So the bright pink Lily of the Valleys, those are 3 of the dies glued together. And then before I adhered them to the stem, I dipped them, kind of pushed them down into the embossing ink pad, and then dipped them into the embossing powder, and then heat set them. So they have a really pretty kind of mottled look to them just at the ends. And it looks beautiful, but it's a really easy, fun way to add a little detail to a metal die. When you have things die cut, sometimes they can look a little cookie cutter, and adding just something like that, a little bit of embossing powder, can make a world of difference. To adhere down the Lilies of the Valley, I am adding a little bit of foam tape just to the flowers. Again, trying to add a little bit of interest, a dimension, a little bit of texture to my page. You'll also see there that I have my metal dies out because I cut my title from some more of that pink cardstock. And the dies I use to cut my letters for my title are from Lawn Fawn as well. They're these beautiful stitched dies. They're from a newer release, but I don't think they're available in the shop anymore, but they're some of my favorites. I think they just have the most amazing, like, pretty stitched font, and I really, really like them. I am using the lines on my pattern paper to get my letters straight for my title. My title is Hello Spring. I do a layout entitled Hello Spring every year. It's what I do. If you go through my yearly albums, you will find every one of them has a Hello Spring page in it. Now I'm going to go through and get all of the rest of my little lilies of the valley in place and on my layout. Just going to go through, make sure all the little flowers are nice and adhered to my layout. And this is where we're going to call my layout done. How beautiful. Look at those flowers and the pretty stamping. Here is the close-ups. And here's that extra like long close-up of the embossing powder that I added to the flowers. This was such an easy technique to try. I think even though I lost the video footage that showed me actually doing it, you really can get the idea. Just take the bottoms of the flowers, kind of push them into your embossing ink pad, and then dip them right into your embossing powder and heat them. And look how beautiful that looks. We also did that beautiful torn edge with the embossing powder, and I hope that this has given you some fun techniques to try on your own scrapbook pages. I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye!